For Horse Slaughter by Jessica Wickert and Cole Lewis. Group 6, Animal Science 67, Animals and Society, Spring 2025.
So to begin with a little history and background on the for side of this argument, some bullet points are: for many years, horses were used for transportation, pulling equipment, and also used in World Wars I and II. During these wars, horses were used for meat consumption due to food scarcity. When other food became limited, horse meat became a reliable protein source for soldiers and civilians. Horse slaughter became necessary when horses became too old, injured, or too exhausted for excessive use on the battlefield. 2007 is when the federal pressure and state laws stopped horse slaughter and got all the slaughterhouses shut down, and also the funding for them. And as you can see in the top right, horses were used very commonly back in the World Wars, so they didn't really give too much thought or care into how they were treating them because they just had a lot of horses and a lot of population, so they just kind of treated them and discarded them like how it was. And so the overpopulation was the big issue back in the World Wars, and so that was the whole entire deal.
Ethical aspects involved in animal use. Consumption versus euthanasia. Many believe it is much more ethical to use horses for consumption over euthanasia because they believe the meat can be of use rather than it going to waste. Paying for euthanasia costs more than it would to send a horse to a slaughterhouse. Neglected horse numbers rising. With the shutdown of slaughter plants within the U.S., there has been an uprise of neglected, unwanted horses. The rescues and rehabs in place for these left-over animals do not meet the needs or provide proper care required for sustainable retirement. Humane slaughter. Canada and U.S. required by law that animals must be taken care of during transit, providing breaks for feed and water, and humanely slaughtered for human consumption. Livestock must be deemed insensible before being shackled, hoisted, or cut.
My name is Cole Lewis, and I'm going to add a little bit more on top of this side of the horse slaughter argument, the for side. So to explain the cultural and sociological importance of this side of it. So many equine veterinarians in the U.S. see the ban of horse slaughter as a tragedy because this leaves many old or unwanted horses to be left out in fields and neglected until they die. More horses are alive, but more horses are suffering. Some believe the ban on horse slaughter in the U.S. brings down the value of some horses as low as $50. Because of this, horses are being abandoned because they are expensive and difficult to maintain properly. They also believe the ban on horse slaughter is wasteful and that the meat should be utilized as a low-price meat option. Also, certain rural and ranching communities where managing livestock responsibly includes making difficult but practical end-of-life decisions. In these settings, the ability to humanely slaughter and make use of horses reflects long-standing values of resourcefulness, land stewardship, and respect for animal utility. And as you can see in the picture there, that is kind of like a somewhat malnourished horse. And obviously it's in pain and it's not getting the proper care that it needs. So in this case, I feel like the horses that aren't getting the proper care that they need and just getting neglected should be humanely put down just to save them the suffering. Hi, this is Cole Lewis, and I'm going to further along this side of the horse slaughter topic, which is the for side. So some current events on this, there hasn't been many in the recent years because the ban on horse slaughter in the U.S. and other parts of the world have kind of just been taking over. But In 1989, it was recorded that almost 350,000 horses were being sent to the slaughter for human consumption a year. As of today, tens of thousands of horses are still being transported to other countries, such as Canada and Mexico, every year for slaughter. These numbers have been reduced substantially due to the laws banning these actions and rise of disinterest. However, it is still being done, and sometimes it is being done illegally. The meat is then shipped overseas from Canada and Mexico to provide to other countries who will still consume horse meat, such as France and Belgium. Besides that of illegal transporting of horse meat to other countries, the U.S. have been rid of horse slaughter, and also the funding of the USDA inspections of horse slaughterhouses have been defunded completely. So these charts on the left, again, we've seen them before, but it just kind of shows you the numbers compared from 1994 to the present day. It's just the ban on number of horses slaughtered for human consumption legally has been just decreased completely, and the horses and all that's being sent to Mexico and Canada for the horse meat illegally, as you can see, that has been on the rise ever since obviously everything was banned for horse slaughter. And then the total numbers, you can see they're kind of just bouncing off each other. This one on the right,
Overpopulation of unwanted equine. Irresponsible breeding. All over the U.S., irresponsible horse owners are allowing breeding to continue with no proper care plan for current or new horses within their care. The lack of sterilization process also adds to this issue of horses being bred. Rescues at maximum capacity. Rescues are becoming full of unwanted horses that were either being abused by neglect or were no longer wanted by owners due to their lack of ability. These rescues are not funded enough to provide the proper care these horses need. Abandonment. Many horses are being kicked out on pasture to spend the rest of their days as retirement due to becoming sick or no longer able to meet the needs of their owners. These horses are not being provided proper care since it is too expensive to care for a horse not being used for anything.
Hi, again, this is Cole Lewis, and this is kind of like the whole argument for the for side of the horse slaughter target or topic slash argument between people. So basically, for many years, horses were being used to provide meat for human consumption as a cheaper alternative to provide supply of protein. When humans have fallen on hard times, it is hard to provide the proper nutrition due to the high cost of meat and groceries. With the outstanding numbers of unwanted horses in the U.S. and the rising cost of ownership, horses for human consumption could be a good source of meat supply. Most owners will not pay to have the horse humanely euthanized and would rather let them live out their old age in pain out in a field where they will no longer receive attention or proper care. They are very large animals, and this could provide a large amount of meat, but at sometimes inhumanely euthanized in illegal ways at homes to save on costs. In addition, some may argue that humanely euthanizing a horse with injury or old age is better than allowing horses to die of old age and pain or injury due to save cost and efficiency for the ranch. And as you can see in the right, this is just one of many examples of malnourished horses that just kind of get left to be neglected. Either they're injured or they're getting old, and people just kind of want to save on cost and save on money to kind of just not have to deal with the horse anymore and kind of just let them die out, which is in most cases more inhumane than just actually euthanizing a horse. So I feel that this for horse slaughter is kind of a 50-50, and it could really go either way, because just depending on what the situation is and how the horse is being taken care of, there's a lot of variables.
Products made from horses. Gelatin. While not all gelatin is made from horses, it is possible that it can be. Horses are one of many animals that can provide collagen, which is an uncooked version of gelatin. This can be used in many products such as Jell-O, gel caps for medication, gummy candy, etc. Glue. Glue for many years was made from collagen that can be collected from the horse's bones and hooves. In most recent years, glues are commonly produced using man-made chemicals to provide a more vegan approach. Paintbrushes. Paintbrushes are commonly made using horsehair because it is a durable material that is capable of holding more paint. This allows the painter to dip their brushes less frequently to reapply their paint supply.
So to kind of wrap up the for side of the horse slaughter argument / topic, my name is Cole Lewis, and some positive contributions that have been coming from this side is there is improved practices of humane transportation received almost universal support. Those who oppose the ban of horse slaughter for human consumption argue that humanely killing horses for consumption is no different than humanely killing horses on the farm. Also, the cost of disposing the carcass of a euthanized horse by methods other than slaughter are found to be insufficient. The unintentional consequences of banning horse slaughter would have been to have said become more of a problem than to find ways to rid of the population altogether. While providing sustainable products from the horses being consumed, supporters also argue that the slaughter, when properly regulated, ensures a more humane end-of-life experience for the horses, as it ensures there is no possibility of prolonged suffering. Also, some can argue that the economic benefits that the industry can offer by creating jobs and meeting international demands of horse meat, which can turn slaughter into productive use of resources. So as you can see, there is some positive contributions that come from horse slaughter, including, or that could potentially come from horse slaughter, including increasing and bettering our economic status in a different type of market and other ways like that.
References and resources for horse slaughter. Basically, these resources have provided the information that we needed to come up with how we estimated how many horses are being slaughtered each year. Some information was found either through the Gale search system from the college research database, or even from the American Humane website. These resources have provided the legitimate and up-to-date information that was needed in order to create these statements. Each slide that has been written was referenced from at least one or more of each references listed on this page. To find out more information about horse slaughter in the United States and the neglect of horses not being slaughtered, you can look up these links and find more information on how these horses are being treated. You can even look up the last link that takes you to a government page that states the current laws on horse and animal slaughter that puts horses in the same category as cats and dogs against human consumption.